Hi, this is Marcus and you're listening to Can We Just Talk on Life Radio UK. So you're here with Marcus, Dion, Cherie and Jonathan on Can We Just Talk, and today we're talking about Give Me Back My Trousers. Strange title maybe, but we're talking about men and women and what roles they have in the home. So straight off the bat, what roles do you have in your house, Jonathan?
Our house is a mixture. We just kind of muck in where we can, but I reckon there's certain things like tidying, kitchen cleaning, vacuuming. I think Cherie's more on the ball with that stuff, and then I'm always like in the garden type of thing. So I think there's a mixture in the sense of we kind of do have our roles, but we cross over where we see where the needs help. Like Cherie will help me in the garden. I'll obviously clean as well, innit? I'm not just.
Is there something that you just won't do? Is there something that you're like, nah, it's not my job?
No, but I hate the kitchen.
Like tidying the kitchen.
Tidying the kitchen.
Yeah.
I absolutely hate tidying the kitchen.
He'll do anything.
Is that because it's a woman's job?
What?
No.
Sorry?
Generally.
Getting myself into trouble there. Nah, I'm joking.
I feel like Jonathan will do absolutely everything else if it means that he can get out of doing the kitchen.
Yeah.
Okay.
100%.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
I think that's fair enough. There's some things you just don't want to do.
Kitchen just drives me balmy.
Okay, but do you allow that then? Do you kind of say, okay,
I'm not
well,
bothered.
I'll do everything in the kitchen, you can do everything else?
No, don't get me wrong. Like, if I'm at work, it's not like he'll leave it and then I'll come home and have to deal with it. Like, he definitely will. And there's times that, like, if he knows that I'm tired or whatever, he'll do it. But if there's two jobs that need doing and we're both home, he's not choosing the kitchen.
No.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
he'll say, oh, I'll go and do this instead. Because that's his, like, yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
I think that's okay. At least you've decided between yourselves who kind of does what, or you kind of said, well, we muck in with everything.
Yeah.
But if I don't want to do that.
It took time to get there.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely
It
took
wasn't an
time to
overnight.
Oh, please, tell us the journey.
It wasn't overnight. I don't know. I think initially for us, it was like those lines were blurred. Like, we didn't have that conversation very early on. Like, so we kind of just, I'm just a doer. If something needs doing, I'll just crack on and do it without realising that potentially that could offend someone else.
Yeah.
Or maybe not offend. Maybe offend's the wrong word. But yeah, if I think, oh, okay, the grass needs cutting, I might try. And I'm not great at it, but I think, well, it saves him a job. But
I used to get offended.
Yeah, I've learned that Jonathan really does take pride in his garden and things have to be done a certain way. And he's very institutionalised. So...
Institutionalised? What's that word? Institutionalised?
When you send your children to boarding school, expect them to have some little quirks when they come out. So Jonathan has to have things done a certain way.
Yeah.
So where I thought it was okay just to give it a bash in the garden. And
Yeah, just fling the lawnmower over anywhere you want.
He was really upset.
What's wrong with that? You cutting the grass, ain't you?
That's all subjects man for it.
That's just like us coming into the house and throwing paint up on the wall any which way, any direction, and saying, "Oh, look, we've done a good job."
Yeah,
It's not okay.
yeah. So I think, like, in the early days, I just didn't really see it as a thing.
I used to get offended with you washing the car as well.
Oh yeah, because like I've had my car since I was 17, innit? So I've looked after my car.
You just get on with it.
Yeah. So I used to just wash my car. If something needs doing to my car, I'll sort it out.
I'm down with that. You should have made her do yours.
Nah, I think for Jonathan, it was like...
I used to get really offended. Like, now it doesn't bother me anymore, but yeah, offended. Even when she used to get a car, we used to take a car to the car wash.
Yeah.
I was offended by that as well.
Oh wow.
I was like, but I'm here and I can clean the car. Why don't you just say it needs washing?
Okay.
Well, I just want it doing then, innit?
But you know what? This is why it's important. Like the whole reason behind this show, just talk about it.
Yeah.
These are the things that we kind of take for granted that just happen and will just develop over time. But why not just have a conversation and iron it out from the very beginning? Like you're saying, you know, you both had a way that you did something when you were growing up. You've had your car for years. You know, you mow the grass a certain way. And if you had never let it happen, if you never talked about it, then you would have never got to this point.
Yeah, it's true. And that's why same thing with the kitchen. That's why I don't like doing the kitchen.
Why?
Because the process of me cleaning the kitchen is very long.
Yeah,
I feel like I need to certain parts of the kitchen I need to clean before I actually clean. See, it's annoying.
So basically, you have there's a system. Yes.
Yeah.
It has to be a system.
Yeah.
Marcus is very much like that.
But when the system's messed up from the beginning, I find it frustrating. So that's the problem. Do you know what I mean?
He'll get so worked up if something dirty is in the sink.
Like when you put things in the sink already.
Like, look, can you hear the stress in his
That's having
voice?
West Indian parents.
annoying.
that
Can
is.
you hear the stress in his voice?
No, but I'm the same. Don't just throw everything in the sink.
No.
You gotta stack it a certain
Thank
way.
you.
All
Thank you.
right.
When I get there in the kitchen, the process is already messed up.
Yeah.
I feel like forget it.
Can you tidy it first yourself?
Yeah,
exactly.
exactly.
Okay. No, I hear that.
Which is why our parents tell us that we're supposed to tidy up the kitchen when we're done, so that we can then don't have to deal with all of that stress.
Yeah, exactly.
no,
or do it as you're going along.
As you're going
How
along,
about that?
yeah.
Try that one out.
So for those of you just joining us, we're talking about the roles that we each have in the home. We're talking about, as you grow up, it's typically men do this, women do that. Which part of it is true? Which part of it is false? Do we all do the same thing? But, we're going to see how that develops in our own relationships. Dion, we didn't answer the question. What do you do in the home?
What do I do? I think the question should be, what don't I do in the household? Thank you.
Okay.
I do everything. So, what do I do? Actually, you tell me, what do I do? What do I do?
Do you put the bins out?
No.
Okay, so that's one of the things that I don't want to do. It's not because I can't do it, it's because I don't want to do it.
Okay.
I just don't
Definitely
want
a man's job.
Okay, that's interesting.
I really
That's interesting.
I think if there's a man in the home, he needs to take the bins out.
Okay.
Okay.
That's very
I
interesting.
took pride in when Caleb held the wheelie bin when he was like how old was he? About 2.5, 3.
Yeah.
Oh,
And he pulled the wheelie bin home.
It
Pulled the
made him
wheelie bin.
because you know how our road is a
Yeah.
private road, you have to put the bins at the top.
yeah.
Imagine wheel it all the way back down.
I was like,
He
yeah,
weren't
man.
even
Oh,
3.
wow.
And he loved it. He was well into it. I'm like, yeah,
Teach
man.
them young.
Train
innit?
up a child, man. See it there.
Okay, so
to take out the bins.
So back to
Oh, my
the.
life.
So what else do you not like to do?
I don't. Okay, I genuinely I don't like to do the bins, as I've mentioned. Pretty much everything else I will do if I have to do it. So
Decorating?
I will do that. I'm quite happy doing that. Why are you giving
Marcus
that look,
is now
Marcus?
giving us a little side eye.
Yeah, why are you
What's
doing
that about?
I don't like to... Wait a minute. Can we just stop? Okay, so we're living. We are sitting in my front room, and I'm very much so about, taking time to do things nicely, and sometimes things don't work, but it's okay because it's my house. Okay, so if it's not 100% perfect, I didn't buy anyone in to do it. I did it myself, and you know what? I'm gonna deal with it.
So who
we're
painted?
sitting here looking at a shelf that I painted. Thank you. Or on my own because
You painted the
couldn't
walls?
wait for Marcus any longer.
You painted the walls
Well, Marcus painted the walls
and the ceiling.
with Sienna and Savannah. With
So
the
I'm
girls.
sitting here with my mouth closed at the moment because I'm letting Dion answer all of these questions.
Well, who did the wallpaper?
Yeah, that's true. Who did the...
No, actually, we did do the wallpaper
We
together.
did.
So,
And once he had done that, I then did everything else.
so I think the moral of the story here is that
You did it
Teamwork.
collaborative.
yeah, we did it collaboratively, and we both kind of have roles that autonomously come together, or we do kind of together, and we kind of both worked out roles that we say, well, I don't really want to do that, so you do that, and it works. And I think that's the same with you guys as well. It works.
Because I'm lost without you.
You're lost without me.
Hi, I'm Cherie and you're with the Can We Just Talk crew on Life Radio UK. We're discussing Give Me Back My Trousers, talking about gender roles within the household. So just before the last song we were talking about roles that we do, in the house, like what jobs we like to do, what jobs we don't. But I guess we have to look at what we expect from the other person as well. So Dion, did you have any expectations of Marcus within the household?
Okay, so with Marcus, I expected him to take care of outside of the house. That's kind of like what my expectation was. So I will make the decisions about inside the house, and I'll say where things are and where things should be placed, and I like that on the wall, I don't really like that. And Marcus should take control of what's going on outside the house. So the garden, the drive, the windows, the patio area, that should be your spot. Obviously, as we mentioned before, we do a lot of the things in our house collaboratively, but I still feel that, you should take more of a leading role on things outdoors. So that includes the bins, doesn't it? Yeah.
So I don't know if anyone else heard this, but I'm a man that, attention to detail. And I found it quite funny and poignant that Dion said that she makes the decisions about the inside of the house. She didn't say that she does the inside of the house and I do outside. She says she makes the decisions about inside the house, true. Which basically means I have to do it.
But darling, this is why we do it together. That's why we work as a team. It's what we do. So
okay, so you make the decisions. I do all of the leg and donkey work.
Yeah, basically, that's what she's saying.
And if you're happy with it, then I don't have to do it again.
Basically, yeah.
Okay.
In the nicest way.
Okay. Well, at least we know our role.
I appreciate you doing it. I'm just saying, it's not really donkey work. I'm not going to beat you to do it. I just mean, it would be. I might give you like little gentle reminders. Like, it would be nice if that went up on the wall sometime this week. That kind of gentle reminder.
Was that a gentle reminder? Have you got something to put up on the
wall? No. Well, as long as it's not a case of I've got to do it all in one go, like we spoke about in our last episode, I might just take a 10-minute break.
Oh yeah, the Marcus breaks.
The Marcus
breaks.
So, okay, let's talk about me. What did I expect of Diana? I guess I expected her to be able to cook and to cook.
Uh-oh.
Okay.
I think that was fair enough.
You expected me to cook?
Yeah, I'm not saying all the time, but I expect. I guess most guys.
Yeah, of course.
When they find the woman that they want to spend their life
what
with.
What happens if she can't?
Well, this is what I was just gonna say.
For me, that's a deal breaker.
So I don't think it'll go any further. Of course, that's one of the. That's really important.
I don't think I would have got to a place where I would have married someone who couldn't cook.
So hold on, no, rewind, come again.
So in our one we did with Jermaine and Nicole,
we
spoke about this, and in the sense of you kind of see we're all coming from a church background, so you see how that person is in and around church. So you'll see. So as a man, you're expected to put the tables out, put the chairs out.
Yeah.
So you automatically see that person's helping, rather than just talking and having a joke and running around. You can see that person's actively doing something.
Yeah.
So the same thing with the women. So if you see them in the kitchen, preparing the food, it's like, hold on a second, you can't cook. And there's a little bit of flirting starts from there. And you know about cooking and everything, and you know what I mean? So you start to see these things. So I don't think it would go any further for me. If all she could do was cook me egg and beans, like, as much as I love egg and beans, I do, because I'll have it every day, calm. But I still needed to be able to cook.
Yeah, I agree with that.
But what about if you're really good at cooking yourself?
That's good.
That's fine. That's fine. And
that's a bonus.
Yeah. I think you need to tap into your strengths. So if Marcus's strength is the fact that he is a really good chef, like he can really cook. I'm not just going to do it just because I'm his wife and you expect me to cook it. Nah, bro, you can cook. You go to the kitchen.
Something is at work and you're at home on that day.
See, okay, so that happens sometimes in our household. Like, he may get home before me. I will expect him,
of course,
to do something.
And I would expect myself to do something too.
Yeah, and we also expect your wife to cook as well. You're not just going to stand up there
and just be like, well, she's not going to eat until she gets home.
It's cold.
You better...
What would Jonathan...
Based on
deal breaker.
Subject that we're talking about today, so give back my trousers. What's a deal breaker? I think if he wasn't willing, if he was the type of person that wasn't willing to contribute at all to our household, I'm not carrying you.
Yeah. 150%.
Like, there's two of us coming together.
Yeah.
So we both have to bring something to the table. So if you're just going to sit back and put your feet up and expect to be weighted on hand and foot and not lift a finger up around the house, then you're going to have to do that elsewhere. Because you can't do that in my house.
Well, I think that's quite broad, to be fair.
But I feel like that is literally what it is for me. Like, I wouldn't want someone who is lazy and someone that needs to be looked after. Like, Jonathan is very much, he's very self-sufficient, doesn't need me to do anything, and he's very good at using his initiative to do things around the house, to do things at home, to plan in advance, like looking forward, what do we need to achieve type of thing, and he'll get things done.
So I think that's quite similar.
And that works.
Yeah.
Whereas there are definitely people out there that don't really fancy doing the gardening, will make you put the bins out because they'll say, well, why can't you do it? Don't want to cook and just want to sit around and not do things. And I just haven't got time for that. That's not compatible for me.
So therefore,
cooking's really important.
Yeah.
Isn't that? It really is. No, think about it. Think about all the times when you come home from work and let's say there was no food. Like, what do you do? You come back home and you've just finished your 12, 13-hour shift. You've come home, you're tired, and there's like nothing to eat. What do you do?
And the worst thing is, Uber Eats and Just Eat and all these things can't cut it because you're still going to have to wait another 40 minutes for it to come.
What happens?
I just think, is there really someone out there that just can't cook at all?
Of course there is. Of course there is.
At all. Like, I'm okay.
Burns the
There's
water.
a difference. No, there's a difference between. What's your standard of cooking then? Because obviously we've all got it nice. Like, we know that,
Clearly.
Praise the Lord.
I'm thinking, like, can't cook. Like, most people.
No, sure, the people that definitely can't cook.
Listen, that's why they brought out a show back in the day called Can't Cook, Won't Cook. Because they couldn't cook.
Can sustain life somehow.
Somehow you have to do so. Toast, something.
You can't
I mean, how hard is it to make a jacket potato?
Well,
To be fair, it's quite difficult, you know.
Yeah, of course. But this is what I'm saying. If you couldn't cook, it would definitely be an issue, and I think I'd have to like.
Okay, maybe I
don't get me wrong. Like, there's certain things you can't cook, and certain things I can't cook that we've taught each other how to cook.
Yeah.
but that's learning together.
Yeah.
But I guess in a roundabout way, this is the whole cultural expectations that we kind of put on ourselves.
Yeah.
Or just kind of they're ingrained as we grow up because you either see a family member, you see your mum always in the kitchen doing this possibly, or vice versa, or you see your father always putting out the bins like you said, or whatever it is. So you kind of see those roles and you think, well, that's what I should do.
I don't think I've ever seen my mum put the bin out, you know.
There you go.
Seen who, your mum?
Yeah.
Really?
Thinking about it. And she definitely hasn't washed a car.
What?
Not that I've seen.
And this
Well,
is
then,
it.
yeah, I guess, and that's what you bring into your relationship, though, isn't it? It's the ideals of what you have seen. Like, Sabbath dinner is a big thing in my parents' household. Like, my dad is the cook. Like, he is the chef. You get me? Like, he does he does it. But then on a Sabbath, that's my mom's domain. Like, you just don't. Sabbath, she'll go in the kitchen and that will be, well, Friday, preparation day. She will do all of that stuff ready for Sabbath. But rest of the week, it's Dad does it. So I've seen both. And another thing, it was always, Dad would take the bins out. Dad vacuums as well, but Dad is not ironing. He will not iron.
My dad irons everything for everyone in the house.
But that's like one thing we're not doing, we're not ironing. He's not doing it.
Serious. So that leads us on to our next question. How do we deal with society and cultural expectations? Should someone in the marriage be in charge?
Life Radio.
You're with the Can We Just Talk crew on Life Radio UK. I'm Jonathan, and today's topic is Give Me Back My Trousers. So, what do you reckon? Should someone be in charge of the marriage?
Yes.
Or leading the household?
Somebody should be in charge of the marriage to a certain degree.
Somebody or
Because
both?
I think you both should be in charge to a certain degree, but I think someone should be. You asked me to marry you, so seeing as you asked me to marry you, you must have something to take me into. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. No,
yeah,
I hear
so
that.
I think from a certain, otherwise we just say, shall we marry each other? Oh, that's a grand idea. Let's get married. Like, no, you went on one knee and you said, I want you to marry me.
Since Marcus should be in charge.
I think to a certain degree he should be in charge.
Okay. Yeah. No, that's fine. I like the way you've explained that, but well, I'm saying but I shouldn't say but.
You better not say that.
Adding on to that, I think, yeah, I understand the concept that someone should be in charge. Obviously, the typical or the stereotypical look at it is that the man should be in charge. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that because you still work as a team. The way I look at it is when you look at businesses, there's always one person who is in charge. Typically, there's not a group of people that are in charge. The buck's got to stop somewhere, or somebody's got to make the final decision if the group can't make a decision. So I agree with what Dion's saying. I think someone does need to be in charge.
That doesn't mean that you have to dominate the situation.
No,
It's
that's a
more
totally
so-
different thing.
Yeah.
What about you guys? What do you think, Jonathan?
I think Cherie's in charge. I always say she's in charge.
She the boss.
Yeah.
I don't think I am.
Well, if she wasn't in charge, things wouldn't happen. So,
That's nice.
so for example, like we both work shifts, managing childcare.
Oh yeah. you won't
Basically,
do
all
that.
Cherie. Like, not that I won't. It's just
No,
too
but-
much for me. So I think Cherie, like, kind of
No,
just.
I think that's you knowing your strength and delegating is what I think that is.
Yeah, so that's you leading again. Like, that's you
Because
being a leader and delegating
Jonathan
that
says,
role.
I feel like we need one group. Seeing as you've used that as an example, you said we need a group where everyone knows what everyone's doing, and we can just make sure that we can communicate to everyone at the same time.
What do you mean a group?
So, like, just a messaging group,
Okay.
because in the first month of me starting, it was just a bit all over the place, and we obviously with lockdown, Isaac hasn't been to nursery yet and stuff like that. So it was your suggestion, so I said, "Oh, go on then," and he says, "No, I think you should set it up, and because you're better at things like that."
That's fair enough.
So I was like, oh, "All right then." So even
She's the
though,
project manager at home. What do you mean?
so even though I physically set it up, and yeah, I've kind of sorted out the childcare or whatever, the delegation definitely came from me.
And, no, but that goes back to what Dion said about playing to your strengths.
Yeah.
So yes, you're working as a team and you're making it happen.
Yeah.
You know, teamwork makes the dream work is what they
That's
say.
right,
Yeah, so I think definitely we know what the strength of the other person is, and we do capitalise on it. Like, we've learnt that.
So let me
It's
ask
the
you a question.
easiest way.
Let me ask you a question. If Cherie is gonna do something that you don't necessarily agree with, do you put your foot down?
Like what?
I don't think I put my foot down. I think there's times when I've had to say like why or
He says, yes, sir. 3 bags full.
What sort of
Like,
situation?
I don't know.
there is things in my head that I think you've done, and I thought like why
Oh, come on then, let's
have
see.
you done that? But I'm trying to think what this specifically. I remember the feeling and thinking like, why didn't you talk to me? Oh, wait, I was had that
Oh,
conversation
why
with
didn't you talk to me first?
Yes.
Yeah.
So there are little things that you just go ahead and do.
For those of you that have just tuned in, we are talking about, different roles that we have, etc. But we also mentioned about little triggers and things that we won't do and things that we shouldn't do, and and Cherie has decided that while we are going to record today, she's going to sit in the seat that Jonathan likes to sit in. She had her reasons why, but this made Jonathan really upset. Like, do you want to talk about this?
It did. It wasn't on. It's just not on.
I just feel like it wasn't that serious.
But
It's just a scene.
so you could have discussed that with me. You could have said to the kitchen and come to the kitchen and says, "Oh, babe, you know what? This is the situation. Tea,
That's just long.
something to put it on." And I'd be like, "Oh, that makes
Cherie.
sense, babes."
Cherie. Oh, Cherie.
There's just nothing wrong, okay? There was
just
nothing
wrong.
wrong with that. She wanted to sit in the chair. She had her reasons why. It was just that
And it
she
should have
didn't
been-
communicate those.
Yeah, he
reasons.
likes me to talk about things first.
That's
And
all right.
sometimes, and I that's fine. But sometimes I think the 5 minutes it takes for me to give you a heads up, I could have done it and then explained it after.
Okay.
Okay, yeah.
Okay. So apology is better than permission.
Nah. Oh, nah. of an example. If I could think of an example, you'd see how like trivial some of these things are. But yeah, sometimes I just think, oh, it'll be fine. I'll just do this, and it's never that he's upset with the decision or he disagrees with it. He just would rather have known beforehand. But sometimes I think knowing beforehand wouldn't have made a difference to the outcome. So
Yeah, it does. So I'll give you an example of something.
Go on.
I was just thinking. So I could think of two examples. One of the example was
not
you,
too many now.
you changed one of the cupboards. You changed something you put in the cupboard. It was like oil or was it the oil or the drinks?
You hear how trivial.
And I was quite offended by that because I felt like you should have said, "Oh, babe, I'm thinking about doing." Because I wouldn't.
Can you hear what he's saying?
Because I hate to go to the cupboard and it's gone, and I feel like
Yeah.
why it's not there.
What,
I hear
let
what
me
he's
open the
saying.
one next to it.
No, but I hear what he's saying. No, because I've done the exact same thing when I've said, "Oh no, I just need to clear out." Remember?
Yeah,
And I've
yeah.
cleared. I've changed everything because I think it would go better in these cupboards and all that sort of thing. And then Dion will come down and be like, "Where's this and where's that?"
Yeah.
And I'm like, "It's in that cupboard up the top now." And
Yeah, but
so
that-
she,
have to remember-
although she hasn't said, "Well, you should have sat down and talked about it," or said to me, "You're moving it," she's afterwards gone like, "Well, it's not in the place it's supposed to be, so why didn't you let me know?"
You told me,
Yeah,
it's
because you have to remember as well. Oh gosh, I suppose here we go. Me and Jonathan on the same page.
Yeah, man.
I think
I don't think it's that
you have
deep.
to understand that we are not. Yes, we are in a marriage together, and yes, God has joined us together to become one. But you have your own brain, and I have my brain, so I don't know what's going on in your brain unless you tell me.
Yeah, that's
It's not
Exactly.
that it's a problem.
Exactly.
It's not that
No,
it's
it's not a problem.
It's just,
Yeah.
It's just tell me.
Let me know. Yeah,
and then
that's
once
it.
you've told me, I'm like, okay,
Yeah,
fine.
cool.
Yeah, for
that's
real.
it.
So we're all on the same page, I'd say. I think we're all on the same page with that one. So for those of you just tuning in, we're talking about Give Me Back My Trousers, and we spoke briefly about who is in charge. Is there someone in charge? Is there a leader in the household?
But you didn't answer. Who do you think is in charge?
No, I said I agreed that I'd probably say that I'm in charge from I guess, like I said before, it's quite a stereotypical thing that the man is the head of the house or the head of the home.
No, that's not what it is. You're in charge because I allow you to be in charge.
Oh, that's fine. I can live with that.
Life Radio.
Hi, I'm Sheree and you're with Can We Just Talk on Life Radio UK. Today we're talking about Give Me Back My Trousers, gender roles within the household. So, whose career takes precedent and does income really matter?
Ooh.
Interesting. Ooh.
So, I don't know, whose career takes precedent? I think I'll put myself on the line here. When we both had our careers and we both decided to change, Jonathan was a bit more convinced in what he wanted to change to first, and I was very supportive of it, and actually we have a way that careers and financial contributions and stuff like that, that's not the be all and end all of our marriage. So we're very supportive to each other's journeys. When Jonathan wanted to change, I was like, right, crack on, we'll work through it, we'll get there. And then when he qualified and then a year had passed, he said to me, well, aren't you gonna do what you wanted to do now? Which was like a gentle prod, like, if you're gonna do it now type thing. So yeah, I think we're in our household, we're very, it's not that it's not important. We don't have one person's career more important than the other person. We're very much balanced in that once one person's happy and satisfied and whatever, then the other person can go back. Because I just don't think it would work for both of us to be studying at university trying to redefine careers at the same time. So yeah, we've just been really supportive of each other
Financially as
through
well.
that. Yeah, you can't both just decide to leave work and go to university and try and explain that to the mortgage company. No, that's not going to work, is it? Yeah, we've just been supportive of each other's journey, really.
I think with myself and Dion, we kind of pick it up from a different angle on the same thing with careers. It's kind of a question of sometimes it's like who's busier or who's gonna go and pick up the kids if there's something wrong at school and that sort of thing. So it's kind of like I might be in meetings all day, or I might be 100 miles away from home with my job. But then Dion, as a teacher, she is in a classroom.
She has a constant.
Yeah,
place
so
of
she
her,
can't
yeah.
kind of just be like, oh, well, I'm going and get out. Whereas, depending on where I am, mine is probably easier to be like, okay, I've got to go, children, problem. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to shoot off and go and get them, or whatever it may be. So even with that, it's kind of, babe, I've got a lot going on, I'm busy. And then sometimes Dean will be like, well, my job is just as busy.
Yeah.
I think it was interesting as well when earlier on in the days of our careers where our what do you call it, our income, it changed as well. So like there were times where Marcus was earning more than me, then there'd be times where I crept up and I was earning more than him. And even in the household and like paying bills and things like that, even where we would like to try and half things, either one of us would like, well, let's just overcompensate for this, let's just do this, because bottom line is it's our money
the
anyway.
house, yeah.
It's the house, it's food, it's the children, it's whatever we need to do. So I don't think either one of our jobs take precedence. I think we both graft hard, and it's just about appreciating the fact that you work hard, I work hard, I'm going to get tired, you're going to get tired, but we still have to get by in life. So I don't think we have one that takes precedence.
And I suppose we've answered the question, but you know, the reality of life is this is what happens when it comes to incomes. Does income matter? And I think sometimes it can be a cultural thing. Sometimes it can just be, you know, I'm the man of the house, so I should be earning more. And I don't like it if my wife or my partner is earning more than me. And that causes, you know, frustration, causes problems in the relationship. And
I think it's a generational thing as well.
Yeah,
because,
even that, yeah.
You know, nowadays it's women graft. That's what we do as well. We get out there, we're independent women, we do what we're doing, you know, driving and working and doing everything else, managing all of these plates. And the generations above us, I know like aunties or great aunts or whatever, that they wouldn't put any money from their things into the house. Like that was the man's job. Like that's what you're supposed to do. You pay the bills, you do this, you do that. And many of them, because that's the system and the system works for them, they continue, and even now they just continue
Carry on, don't
yeah.
So we're coming to the end of our show, but I've got a very quick question on that same topic just before we go. So those independent women, is it okay for them to kind of take on the role of being the breadwinner? Do we feel that that's okay? Or
I think you, Jonathan, need to ask that, because as women, we'd just be like, well, yeah, why not?
So let me explain a bit more then. Let me explain
on.
a bit more for our listeners. So you said that, you know, nowadays in the 21st century, there are a lot of women who pursue their careers. They're balling, you know, they have their money, they look after themselves, they buy their shoes, their clothes, they look after the house and all that sort of thing. Do they then go into relationships and then have that same sort of, whether you call it behavior or attitude of, well, I'm going to run things because I've got the money? Should that change, or should that be a case of, oh, it's okay? For a man, it might be seen as, oh, well, I'm not making as much and she's taking care of everything. Would you feel a way?
I think being a man in the house is more than about financial and about how much money you bring in. And I learned that from obviously being in our relationship when Cherie was the person bringing in the money. But then Cherie never held that over my head. It naturally, if you're earning more, we kind of automatically did it, you give more. And we kind of naturally did that anyway. But it didn't make me feel...
At uni, I would never I never would expect to be like, well, I'm going to decide anything. Like, I don't know.
Well, we kind of did it all the way through. So even when we first got together, you were at uni, and I thought, okay, well, I'm working full time, so I'll pay for all the food and stuff, and we'd bring that in. And the same thing is, we continued that all the way through. Where if one person's earning more, and if I'm at uni and I'm just doing a little door work here and there, you can't expect me to pay all the bills and to bring stuff in. So it's kind of like a give a give or take thing. But yeah, I think being a man is in the house is more than about just income. It's a lot deeper than that. But the problem is that some people do see it as an income thing, and it starts to cause problems and issues within a relationship. And like, because it's different from how our grandparents used to be. So like, granddad worked, and there was one car, and grandma just stayed at home and just did everything. But I don't think, unless you're a doctor or you've spent 10, 15 years studying, can you manage a house just on your own without a woman working? Before those guys used to just be factory workers or do whatever they can,
make ends
and ends were met. But I don't think you can live in a life where you do that now. You can't just be in a factory worker and maintain house for you and wife and everything and have 2 cars on the drive. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's very difficult.
Yeah. So I guess the advice we're giving to people is it doesn't really matter.
No.
You know, focus on the things that are important and build that empire together.
I think what I would say though, just my little 2 pennies, is I'd see it as more of an issue if, just removing gender from it for a second, if you have one person that's, I don't know, like a consultant and earning, you know, significant amount of money, and somebody else that's on minimum wage or a 0-hour contract, as they now have quite commonly nowadays, to expect that person to somehow contribute 50% towards your household is just ludicrous. Like, that says more about that person. Because you shouldn't come into it thinking, well, I'll contribute my 50% and I'm not really sure where you're going to get your 50% from, but the rest is mine. Like, that doesn't make sense. That says a lot. Like, you might want to be wary of somebody that is like that.
Well, that's all for now, but before we go, remember to follow us on social media, Facebook and Instagram at Can We Just Talk 20.